All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a special edition of the 2020 podcast. I am here live with two fantastic optometrists to talk about some amazing topics. Before we go on to the conversation, I want to say a big thank you to my friends at Defocus Media, Dr. Daryl Glover and Jen Lyerly, for allowing me to come into their home and use their platform here to share the amazing insights from our guests here today. So thank you very much, Jen and Daryl. And thank you, everybody who's joining us live for this conversation. You will see that you can drop us comments and questions at any point during the conversation, and Dr. Maharaj and Dr. Miranda are very open to answering things on the fly. They'll probably engage with you more than you'll expect. So please feel free to drop in some questions and comments at any point during the conversation. So without further ado, our special guests today are Dr. Trevor Miranda and Dr. Richard Maharaj. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me here today.
Hey, thanks for having us. Yeah, great to be here.
Yeah, thanks. Looking forward to it.
Sorry, Richard, I'm cutting you off already. Why don't we start with a little introduction, where you are, what you do, kind of why you're on the call today. We'll start with you, Trevor.
Okay, great. I'm an optometrist and I practice on Vancouver Island, beautiful Vancouver Island. We have 4 clinics out here. They're all cold starts. I graduated in 1995 from University of Waterloo. And, you know, we have subspecialties from vision therapy, low vision, myopia management to dry eye. And of course, I have a special interest in dry eye. And I think that's why I've been invited here today to talk about making dry eye a little more fun and exciting, and looking forward to chatting about it. Yeah.
Awesome. Richard.
Yeah, so I'm on the other side of the country, well, almost on the other side, in shiny Milton, Ontario. I practice in Brampton, so that's just a little outside of Toronto. I went to University of Waterloo as well, graduated in 2003, and I currently am the medical director for iLab's Optometry Center for Ocular Surface Disease, and it is a medically focused practice with subspecialties as well, as much as Trevor has mentioned. My particular focus is in dry eye and ocular surface disease. And I think we're going to be having a great conversation tonight and talking about our upcoming education event, the Dry Eye Summit, as well. So that's me in a nutshell.
That's fantastic. All right. So since that's going to be the main topic of discussion, I want to ask you kind of a very open-ended question here. Why dry eye? Why are we having this conversation? Why is it important for ODs and patients to be aware of dry eye? And like, why would somebody attend an entire conference based on dry eye? Either one of you, whoever wants to go first, answer any one of those questions you'd like in any order.
Sure. Well, I'll answer it from sort of a general practitioner point of view. You know, why dry eye? Because it's very prevalent, and we can help people. We can fix people. I mean, you know, if you specialized in floaters, I don't know, you know, you just identifying the floaters. You know, in dry eye, you can identify and treat, and you can really make differences in people's lives. And then these can be very, you know, I always kind of go back to, you know, who are my biggest fans? Well, they happen to be my dry eye patients that sing my praises the most because they've been overlooked for years. And some of these fixes, you know, we can fix them. We can help them a ton. And they're so appreciative. They're fans for life. So I feel like, you know, it's putting our skills to good work because there's a need. It's been overlooked in the past, and now we actually have some viable treatments.
Yeah, I mean, I'll add to that. I mean, I think Trevor hit the nail on the head. It really belongs in optometry's wheelhouse. So on top of it being a really prevalent condition, it's also a vision disease. And I'm going to do a shout out here to Scott Schachter, who says this all the time. Dry eye is a vision disease. We are doctors of the visual system. The tear film is probably the most important optical surface that we have our patients and ourselves have. So I think focusing in on that fine optical surface is important. And then again, to add to what Trevor said, it is a life-changing service to provide. For those of you in the audience that provide care for dry eye patients, you can probably feel the change in lives that you have and the impact that we have. So I think that's kind of a main reason. And to look a little bit further, in the last 5 years, there's been an immense evolution in both industry the dry eye industry, and then just generally ophthalmic pharmaceuticals. So I think there's a lot of investment going on in the dry eye space right now. So it makes sense to talk about it, and you'd be surprised. People want actually more at the end of a 2-day conference, surprisingly.
Yeah, well, no, I'm not actually surprised, but that's good to know. Sorry, Trevor, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to add on, why learn about it? Because there's various levels of expertise, and how we learn is usually from our colleagues and what they're doing and what their successes are. And so I owe a lot of my and our practice success to people like Richard and people who are, sort of concentrating in that area. And I've learned that, hey, you know what, I can do this too. I could be a great dry eye practitioner, and I can help my patients, and we can monetize it and make it a profitable part of our clinics. And so just learning from doctors, great doctors like Rich and others in our network that are doing this on a day-to-day basis, and really have the nerve, have the gall, have the the bravado to open up a specialty clinic, a medically focused clinic, when maybe that wasn't in vogue before his time. So I think that's impressive, that sort of vision that, we can do this on a medical basis and still do very well. So, I think it's awesome to be associated with that kind of mindset, and that just raises everybody's skill set. So he's kind of the brains behind the operation, and I'm the
You're just the face.
Hardly.
I think that definitely deserves a lot of recognition. Dr. Maharaj, you and I chatted about that when we had our little podcast interview a few months back, about how you decided to just start a practice basically focused just on dry eye, when really nobody was either A, nobody was thinking about it, or B, people were saying that's a terrible idea, and you did it, and clearly it was successful. And like you said, this dry eye industry has blown up over the last few years. And I'm curious, from your guys' perspective, what's the impetus for that growth, especially as like exponential, if you will, as it's been lately?
I'll jump in on that. I mean, I think one of the main drivers is that doctors that have sunk their teeth into dry eye have also, I believe, in my experience talking to doctors across both countries, is that there's an order of fulfillment that I think that we've achieved by treating this condition that we hadn't perhaps seen before. At least that was the case for me. And so I think we've become more passionate about providing this service. And I believe that is translated and sort of by osmosis transferred to our patients. So I think we are, and leaders in this field are attracting patients that have suffered with it for so long. And that, in addition to marketing by industry and marketing of practices, large practices, I think the word is getting out. At the end of the day, you hang up your sign on the outside of your clinic or your storefront, and you say, "Hey, look, we're treating dry eye." You're going to get people looking at that because there are people suffering it. We just had to put a name to it, and I think that has a big role to play. Our education is getting better. Our knowledge base. Our ability to really affect the disease, it's tremendous now compared to where it was 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm. That's very true.
Yeah, our ability to view the conditions, to look, image the meibomian glands, these type of things. So understanding the chemistry behind the tear film, all of that, the TFOS-DUES 2, coming out with increased definition, and I think that's helped everything for sure. And then once you get into it, for me, and I know Rich and I, we talk about eye gene. Eye genes are how we're going to clean people's eyelashes. And I am just, I don't know, mildly sort of obsessive about cleaning people's eyelashes, because I see it now. I see little, the little collarettes, and I want to get them off. I just desperately want to get them off. I don't even care if I'm bothered by it. I just feel like the need to help them. And when you think about your eyelashes catching everything, in the air, and when we had smoky fires out here in the West Coast, and people were complaining about their eyes, and I think we really can really concentrate on that lid lash line and really keep it clean, just like the dentists have done that for the teeth, right? Like everybody should floss and brush their teeth, but we really didn't focus on that when I was in school. Like, let's keep everybody's lashes clean. How about that as a pandemic prevention, perhaps? Oh, that's an alliteration. Yeah.
Pandemic prevention. So do you stop people on the sidewalk and be like, hey, can I look at your lashes? I carry some, like, what is that called? What is that stuff called?
Zaki wipes.
Zaki wipes with you.
Yeah, I'll just zest everybody that I see. I need to wear a cape or some kind of superhero outfit to come in and just clean your eyelashes.
Yeah, that's awesome. You can have a big.
You got your fig scrub. That's your cape. That's your suit.
Teardrop logo on your chest or something.
Exactly. Thanks. Yeah.
So, because.
But Trevor was saying something interesting. He talked about.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry. No, but he touched on people are used to flossing their teeth and brushing their teeth every day. The concept of prevention, I mean, that is optometry's wheelhouse. We see people annually, or maybe it's every 2 years. And our goal is really to capture disease in its earliest form. So to be focused on prevention, dry eye has historically been a disease that we capture too late. We wait for symptoms to erupt and to show up, for signs as well to show up. So we're having the ability to see it early puts us back into our wheelhouse, which is in the game of prevention. So I think that our oral hygiene for dentistry are the equivalent here would be hygiene or ocular hygiene for optometry. That's a big opportunity there.
Absolutely. And when I hear that, when I used to hear that, I used to think, okay, well, how do I get into a position where I'm recommending this as a preventative measure versus like people are telling me about this problem and then I'm trying to fix it, which is, what kind of what I've been used to doing over the years. So I'd like to kind of touch on a few maybe tips and tricks or just advice in general that you might have for the beginner, somebody who's in that earlier stages of developing kind of a dry eye clinic within their practice or practice within their clinic. Somebody who kind of wants to just get off the ground here. Any kind of starter points that you might have for them?
Yeah, clean everybody's eyelashes. How about that? Wouldn't that be awesome? You just come and you clean everybody's eyelashes as part of their eye exam. Wouldn't that be profound? And wouldn't that be right up the alley that we want? And when I started to do that, actually, I've been in on this zest. Rich was like, Mama got to zock you out. I remember you saying.
I like that.
So this is ocular. It's impressive. It's impressive. Anterior seg cameras is cool too. Why not every slit lamp take an anterior seg camera picture of their eyelashes before and then just clean their eyelashes afterwards? If you were starting out and you invested in something like that and that you made that part of your exam, kind of back to what Rich is saying, wellness and, sort of hygiene or hygiene for your eyes, or how can we make you feel better? Literally, people walk out of that going, I've never felt so good with my eyes before. It is that big of an impression, and you're doing something different. So if you were starting out, I would say, shake it up, zock it up, let's do something different and clean people's eyelashes.
So you're suggesting that, I mean, hypothetically or whatever it might be, but you're suggesting that every time a patient comes in for a routine checkup, I would take that additional time. I would somehow build that into their exam fee that they were going to get this cleaning done every single time.
That's right. How about that for something different?
That sounds like a great idea.
Yes.
That's Trevor Miranda right there, folks. Trevor Miranda, changing the game. No, I agree. I agree. I completely agree. And that's something that in my dry eye clinic, we're a very busy dry eye clinic. And what Trevor is suggesting is exactly what we do. And taking it one step further, I guess, so talking about advice to give for the beginner, that's a futuristic world that I hope is actually quite close. However, for those that are just getting started out, dipping your toes into it, you simply screen, right? We screen for glaucoma at every visit. We screen for AMD at every visit. We screen for all sorts of diseases. And how are we screening for dry eye? Well, the easiest way to do that is with a questionnaire. And I know everybody kind of hums and haws and moans when I say, a questionnaire, add another thing to our intake. But look, COVID has provided us with an opportunity here. I'm not saying COVID is the greatest thing to happen, but there is an opportunity, which a lot of us have invested in online forms. So we're now sending our intake forms virtually to our patients. How long will it take for our patient to do a quick DEQ5 or a speed score online, virtually? You have that score when they come into your office. There's your screening. You've done it. You get your pre-test staff to have a very quick discussion saying, we flagged your score, because if the score is 6 or higher, we flagged your score. Dr. Sian is going to talk to you a little bit about what that score means and what can be done or should be done, or whether or not he needs to do more tests for it. And that sets them up. It puts them on a tee. It lets the doctor have the doctor time to have the discussion, to do the test necessary, bring them back for additional tests. Unapologetically, and I'm going to say that really clearly, we need to be unapologetic about looking for and treating active disease. I don't know why we feel bad about it or guilty about it. Well, I have an idea, and I'm going to talk about that at the BCDO next Friday. But I think that's a very easy step to take. Implement a questionnaire, flags it, doctor talks about it, and then execute a plan, whether that's to bring them back or if you can actually diagnose and treat the disease right there.
Can you give us a teaser about your BCDO talk? Like what is like 1 or 2 quick high level things that you think is causing people to feel guilty or scared to do that?
Yeah, I think it has a little bit to do with and I've talked to you about this before as well, Harbir, is generally optometry psychology. There was a study done, I think it was back in 2004, maybe 2005, and it looked at the psychology, the personality types of various disciplines, various health disciplines, optometry being one of them. And as it turns out that optometrists in general, and this is not meant to be a sweeping generalization, but there's sort of a bell curve, and we typically land somewhere in the ISFJ, which is we're altruists. We are we treat people with kindness in excess to an extent, almost like we are the Canadians of the I world, right? Like we're just super nice, we say sorry for everything, and it's funny, but it's also serious because we also feel a certain amount of cognitive dissonance with charging for something that we know is good. But we somehow attach guilt to that. And of course, there's probably other cultural reasons for that guilt, but a big part of it has to do, I think, with our prevailing psychology.
Well, you know what? Oh, sorry, Trevor, please.
Sorry, I totally agree, 100%, Rich. It's interesting. Someone told me once that, you know what, Trevor, you're not magic. You're not going to convince somebody to take to pay their own money for something that they don't feel value for. And I thought, well, that's an interesting thought, yeah, but it's my obligation to let them know what's possible. When I started my own practice, believe it or not, I'm wearing a fast high-end premium frames. I got for, but I started every patient that came in, I offered them the budget package frame. I said, hey, this is your best deal price. And I missed the opportunity there to say, hey, I want to show you what's possible and what the features and benefits of everything that we can do. And we can discuss what you want to do, which option you want to go with. But this is our premium package, and this is our entry-level package. So that's the same thing with dry eye. I mean, I don't think you have to feel like you're pushing somebody, and I don't think we do. But at the same point, you're missing your obligation as a healthcare provider to point out what could be possible, what is available. And if you're not doing it, then it's really your obligation to let them know that your colleagues could do this for you. So I think that's a different way of looking at it, as opposed to saying, you know what, I'm scared, I'm judging somebody's budget, I'm judging what's their values. You don't know what's important to them. By the way, if they're scoring, 20 or 30 on some of these dry eye questionnaires, dry eye is really important to them. So let's figure out, let's ask them, and let's be humble enough to have a conversation with our patients. Listen, if budget's a question, then let's give them, some things that they can do on an everyday basis, whether it's cleaning their eyelashes or taking an omega-3 that isn't super costly, that they can do at home, heating masks and things that they can help them, and they can start with that. So, I don't think you need to sort of say, hey, this is going to cost $2,000 or $3,000 necessarily, but you have to point out the range of treatments every time. that's available to those patients, and what would probably be a good starting point for them, depending.
Yeah. Now, thank you guys. We actually kind of naturally progressed to this. I had this question typed up earlier, or this, to kind of discussion point to talking about selling and the fear that we have of selling treatments or products that would be specifically helping our patients to feel better and to cure or at least treat this disease or condition that they have. So that's definitely a common concern, and it, I'm sure, stems from a lot of what you're just saying there, Richard. The type of person that kind of lands in optometry, partly, anyways, it's due to that type of thing, plus some other things. So I look forward to that talk because I'll be registered for that one for sure next week.
Looking forward to it.
Now would be a good time to kind of just in between before we jump to the next kind of thing here. We've had a couple of good questions come in and comments. First of all, my sister's listening. Thank you, Nimrit, for tuning in, and she happens to be a lawyer. And the comment about optometrists having trouble charging money, she said, unlike us lawyers, clearly they don't have any issues with it. Now, normally we don't want to try to answer too many questions about kind of patient difficulties because we could go down a rabbit hole and be stuck here all day. But I thought this one's actually a really relevant question because I actually get it fairly often from patients. I think it's quite common. So if you guys don't mind, just a real quick answer or touch on this with a yes or no. Struggled with intermittent blurry vision due to dry eye. Why only since the surgery? And is this a condition a result of cataract surgery? Do you guys get that question a lot?
That's my practice. So my brief answer is surgery of any kind, whether cataract or LASIK or retinal surgery for that matter, these are all inflammatory events. More often than not, the disease was building up over time prior. Chances are you were corrected with glasses before, maybe contact lenses, and now you are glasses and or contact lens free, which results in more exposure, more air getting to the eye. So a lot of times surgery is just a manifesting event, and it's uncovering a problem that was there for a while. Rome wasn't built in a day. Dry doesn't just happen, right? It takes a while.
Yep. Yeah, it speaks back to the wellness factor, right, Richard? We could really have interceded there years ago, and now we tend to wait. Oh, you're going for cataract surgery. Maybe we should treat your ocular surface. Really? Should we not treat it earlier? Should we not identify earlier? I really big believer that in wellness, early intervention, early wellness prevention type strategies. I think that is absolutely what optometry should be about. And you're talking about myopia management and some of these other things that we could do, including vision therapy, where, you might even give everybody sort of, I heard an interesting thought. Why don't we train everybody in vision therapy before they read? So we teach them how to sort of go through the process of using your eyes and your brain, and then teach them the letters and the words. I thought that was really an interesting way to kind of go about it, and I feel like that is optometry.
It's like meta vision. I've heard this term about meta learning, like learning how to learn. I feel like that's like learning how to see before you can use your vision. That's kind of interesting. Right. Before I have a couple other comments I want to address here. Before I do, guys, I apologize. I forgot to mention this before, but part of this discussion, of course, we're going to go to it in a second here. We're going to be talking a lot about the Canadian Dry Eye Summit, and the doctors here and the team at the Dry Eye Summit have been generous enough to give away one full access registration to the summit, which includes all the COPE-approved lectures, everything else that comes with it. And you might even get a personal thank you from Dr. Maharaj and Dr. Miranda in your inbox or something at some point. To enter for this, I was trying to find a way in the system here. Unfortunately, it's not quite as convenient as I would have liked. So what we're going to do is I'd like for you to drop me a message. And you got my thing kind of scrolling across the ticker here. You can drop me a message on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and you can email me or whatever you like. Just say that you want to enter for that contest, and we'll draw the name, and I'll make sure that I put it out on social media out in a day or so after we've got all the entry applications, and have that done before the end of today, or by tomorrow morning. I'm going to pick the winner. So take a look at the ticker scrolling across the bottom. DM me on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and I will make sure to consider your name in the contest. And tomorrow I'll pick a winner, and we will announce it on social media. So make sure you guys do that today. I have one more comment I want to just bring in here from a good friend, Dr. Michael Kaplan, who asks from you guys, this is more of from the practitioner side of things. How do you deal with patients with severe LWE? I assume lid wiper epitheliopathy. Am I okay?
Bingo.
Anything really clinical? Let's get rich first.
Severe.
I'm like, yeah, I agree with the smart guy over there.
So for, you know what, let me put disclosures out. I have no disclosures with what I'm about to comment on here. So, but lid wiper is a pain. It can be a pain in the butt. I'm not sure if I can swear on this or not. Anyways, it's a pain. It's a pain in the ass is what it is. But the tighter the eyelids, the more you're going to see it. The more severe cases tend to respond really well to acute courses of topical steroids. You want to make sure you kind of pad that surface with non-preserved lubricants. When you get to the point at which it's very severe, where it's actually causing or exacerbating filamentary keratitis, or even causing linear keratopathy on the cornea, it's in those stages where you may want to actually reach for a bandage contact lens to at least address the cornea. In terms of the actual wiper itself, Zocular, I know we've mentioned it a few times, but Zocular or ZonQ-Kit is phenomenal at bringing down soft tissue inflammation. And again, no disclosure whatsoever. This is from the bottom of my heart, and I'm saying this honestly. It is remarkable at bringing down soft tissue inflammation. I've used it on episcleritis, any type of conjunctival inflammation, and it keeps it cool. It calms it down really quickly. So I find an in-office microexfoliation, microblepharoexfoliation with Zocular, so the Zest treatment, works really, really well in these cases. That's been my experience.
I'm amazed at how good Zest is. I mean, I've used Blefex, and we kind of, I've got no disclosure too, but I just trying to do what works the best, and I've kind of put my Blefex away, to be honest, quite a bit, and using the Zest and Zocular, pretty amazing. Okra based, who knew?
Yeah. Us Indian people love okra.
Okra curry.
Yeah, exactly.
My dad knew, I guess.
Good. Well, thanks for the question, Michael. Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody who has been commenting. I appreciate that. My cousin Gerp is also on the call. I got my whole family in here. And he was saying there's nothing wrong with being Canadian. We're the Canadians of the healthcare system. There's definitely nothing wrong with it. Yeah. Sorry for anybody who's offended by that. So once again, everybody who is tuned in, thank you. And remember, we are giving away one full access registration to the Canadian Dry Eye Summit. All you need to do to enter is message me on one of those accounts that's scrolling across the bottom, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever. DM me that you want to be entered into that contest, and we will put you in there, and we'll pick a winner hopefully tomorrow. So on that note, let's talk about it. The Canadian Dry Eye Summit. I have to admit, I've unfortunately never attended one because I was supposed to attend one this year and coronavirus. But before that, I actually wanted to attend last year in the fall and just wasn't able to make it out there. I have heard so many amazing things from people that I look up to in the dry eye space. And before I met you guys, well, Trevor had met you, but not really talked to you about it. Tell me how you guys developed this whole thing, start from scratch, because it's clearly become the go-to kind of conference and resource for dry eye in Canada for sure, and I'm sure outside of Canada as well.
Well, that's nice. Thanks. Well, I'll start with that, Harbir. Dr. Jeff Goodhue and I were on a conference and having lunch, and I said, I really think we need to do better in the dry eye space. We need a website, and we need something to communicate with our patients and information, and we need to let everybody know who's going to treat dry eye and how we can raise the standard together. And so we started developing a website called mydryeye.ca, where we could act as a resource for like-minded clinicians that wanted to get the word out to their patients and maybe learn from each other and sort of work with the manufacturer suppliers to understand what the products that they could use. So we started that, and that was, it was really well taken. And then we thought, hey, maybe we need to do some more education, some more formal education. And this is where Dry Eye Jedi, Dr. Maharaj comes in. We needed a really on the ground clinician that specializes in this area, that has the connections with North American wide specialty speakers and gurus in this dry eye disease space, ocular surface space. And Rich has been, sort of working in the background on his own smaller education. He's a sort of a professor, a teacher at heart, and it was a perfect fit for the three of us to kind of, with our connections and being sort of a nationally across Canada anyway, being able to bring it all together, wrap it up with education and fun and community. I think that's a lot of what we bring is a dry eye community. We've started some, patient-facing interactions at My Dry Eye Space on Facebook and Instagram and such. So I'll let Richard sort of speak to that, but really it's been sort of the three of us. We've added Dr. Wynn, who's a new grad, who's really sort of added to our mix, to our millennial mix, let's say, and how to present to patients. And we've got an event coordinator, Ronnie Brown. So we've got a great little team going to get us off the ground. And this will be the third, annual, let's say, Dry Eye Summit. So, Rich, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, no, yeah, you hit the nail on the head. It was the genesis, of course, was Trevor and Jeff, and I kind of latched on, and I had a smaller meeting in Toronto back in, I can't remember what year, 4 years ago, and then we decided to make the Canadian, to launch the Canadian Dry Eye Summit. So, it's always been alive, and the benefits of a live meeting are always, the community, as Trevor has mentioned, and the dry eye community is a very tight-knit community. But our education, I gotta say, has been phenomenal. And more than that, we've been tracking our previous attendees and keeping in touch and seeing, just how much we're moving the needle in terms of their delivery of care, access to technology, the pervasiveness of technology. So we've seen that reflected. Our impact has been reflected in dry eye care across the country. And so bringing on Dr. Huynh, who's now adding more to the patient education, has been a remarkable change. So now we're actually engaging with patients, just giving public awareness. We're not, giving or selling anything. We're just making sure they're aware of what's out there. I mean, a lot of patients come to the office and have never heard of any type of meibomian gland expression, IPL. It's never come across their table before. But now we're arming them with the vocabulary so that when they come to your office, they know about it. And then with the Dry Eye Summit, we're providing you with the power and the tools and the education you need to confidently address the disease appropriately. And that kind of helps take away some of the guilt that we talked about earlier. So this year, obviously, COVID, as you said, COVID could probably be the answer to everybody's problem. But COVID was, allowed us to kind of merge into the virtual world and do this online. So this was going to be the year, in fact, that we were going to launch our parallel online learning platform. So if you go to learn.mydryeye.ca, we actually have content on there that is separate from the summit, but it's COPE approved CE. It's also short instructional videos. We're going to continue to add to that throughout the year. So for folks that register for Summit this year for the live event, which is on November 14th and 15th, they'll also get access to the learning platform for the entire year and everything that goes on it. And we're going to have everything from practice management to, continued clinical learning to, we're also always open to feedback, and we're pretty dynamic as a small group. We're, that saying, what was it, back in when the market busted, they say too big to fail. Well, we're too small to fail. So we're able to be lean and mean and give people exactly what they need. So we're really excited this year. This is going to be a first in Canada. We announced it on your podcast back in what was it, April, I think it was, Harbir. So we're super excited for this new meeting.
That's amazing. So anybody who registers for the summit this year gets full access to the online platform as well. Is that correct?
Yep,
Perfect.
absolutely. They get full access to it.
I'm going to take a second to plug this again. We are giving away a full access registration to the summit. So then you would also get in that, you'd get this online resource as well. So even more than what we originally expected to be giving away. And to enter, I highly, strongly, significantly, whatever other superlative I can use, recommend that you drop me a message so you can enter to win this, because it's going to be an amazing conference. So message me, DM me on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever you find me, and tell me that you want to enter, and we'll pick a winner from this tomorrow. One of the things I wanted to ask you about, you're doing this virtually, obviously. What are some of the challenges that you faced with doing a virtual conference?
Name it. The first issue we had, which was we had already booked 2 events for the year in live spaces. So we had some financial challenges that, everybody has their financial issues with practices, but we had the added headache of dealing with our venues. But anyways, that's behind us now. So the main challenge in terms of putting on the education was to make sure that we have people engaged. It's a 2-day event. Sitting in front of a PC for 2 days, probably not realistic. We don't imagine. But what we've done is we've tried to make segments that are smaller, more digestible. So we kind of have general topics, which could be anywhere from 1 to 2 hours long. But within those general topics, so for instance, the practice management of dry eye. Within those general topics, we have small, shorter 20 to 30 minute segments. We call smart segments that learners can sub in for and tune into. So we have that. And in addition to that, we also will have live panels where you can actually engage with the speakers and just have a free-for-all discussion, no holds barred, ask any question you want to ask. And those will run for about 35, 45 minutes. So we really tried to keep it engaging, keep it different. We're also going to have live demos that will be obviously streamed remotely, where you're going to be able to see technology like LipiFlow, IPL. I think we even have some other companies that are going to put on their live demos as well. So you get to see what the technology does, really get a trade show like experience without having to visit the booth. And again, we really tried to differentiate it. We put our own Canadian spin on it. So this is probably something nothing like you've ever attended before.
It's great.
It's hyperbolic, but it's true.
It's okay. We're full of those hyperboles and superlatives. Let's say as many of those as we can. Now, this is open to people to register from anywhere. Is that correct? Right. It's not. I know it's called the Canadian Dry Eye Summit, but it's really just the Dry Eye Summit for anybody who wants to. And just for clarification, the COPE approval, that's also kind of universal, kind of for North American ODs kind of thing. So anybody who attends can get the credit. So
that's right.
I know there's people who've tuned in from the US, and thank you for that. So don't forget that this could be a very, very valuable conference for you as well.
Actually, last year we had our first attendee from, I think it was Mexico, and we had a few people from UK. And actually, while we were in the pandemic mode, we were shut down, but we were doing weekly webinars. And we had people coming in from, was it from Norway? I mean, it was global reach. It was really exciting. But so it looks like our little project seems to have crossed our borders, which is great.
That's the beauty of being virtual, for sure.
I think I just wanted to add, to highlight what Rich said on the webinars that we put on were really well attended, and we had great feedback, and I think great topics. And we've housed those as well on our learning site on mydryeye.ca. So I think that gave us some experience on that we could do this, and we could make it interactive and exciting with hundreds of attendees. So that helped.
Absolutely. So before we go forward and wrap up here, any other topics you want to discuss? Any other information you want to put out there? Any last words, so to speak?
You know what? I'm just gonna, in addition to the contest that we're doing tonight, that you're doing for Defocus members, in the coming days, we're also going to add a bonus contest So for anybody that's on Instagram, if you like at Dry Eye Summit, we're doing a I'm a Jedi 2 contest. So we'll put instructions there, but basically you guys will notice that I have a nice clean dome here. It keeps it easy to maintain. So my staff this week, they decided to use a Snapchat filter, which allowed them to be bald as well. And awesome. So we came up with this idea that if you could post your best dry Jedi ball filter a picture, tag at Dry Eye Summit, use the hashtag I'm a Jedi 2, and we'll, like I said, look for the post, and tag a friend. That will enter you into the contest, and we will draw one person for a free registration for the conference, which includes the year membership to the learning platform as well. So look for that.
Right? I'm a Jedi as in I am, or is it I-A-M? I am.
I'm a. So yeah, I am a.
Okay, yeah. Perfect. So use the filter, post a picture, tag at Dry Eye Summit, and hashtag I'm a Jedi 2.
You got it.
And you could be like Richard for a moment.
Yeah, you know what?
It's not a bad life, guys.
The hair gods at all by even doing that. No way, man. My younger brother's bald, and I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, I'm just no.
Yeah, fair enough. Trevor wants to keep his hair even in a filter, even on Instagram. He doesn't want to pretend. Yeah, you don't want to jinx it. I understand.
I don't know what happened to the younger brother, but yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so
it looks good, Rich. You look good, buddy.
You look good. You make it look good. Hey,
Harbir, I wanted to talk a little bit about some exciting stuff I've got in my clinic that I'm trying to figure out. We brought in radio frequency, we brought in IPL, and we brought in this cool, it's called LLLT. It's sort of a eye light, low light therapy. You look like Jason from Friday the 13th. Yeah, exactly. Those horror fans, pretty interesting stuff with, ATP pathways and trying, to work the system and improve the dry eye. So I'm really actually excited from my point of view to learn a deeper dive into the science there of what's going to happen. But we're seeing some really interesting early results there. And I think that's part of it for what we learn at the Dry Eye Summit, at various levels. You could be a beginner, but you could also be doing this for a while and realize like, hey, there's a whole next level in aesthetics and, all kinds of interesting things to help you treat dry eye and meibomian gland dysfunction and other rosacea and other aspects around that. So I thought I'm kind of excited for 2021 as we implement some of these new strategies and different programs that you can opt into in our clinics, different levels of treatment. So it's kind of neat to see, practitioners like Rich have been doing this for a while, but I'm just getting more into it, that we've got these kind of cool products and treatments. So
that's good.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I saw that post on Instagram. You did look like either from Halloween or the other ones. I don't know whichever movie it was. But you definitely, that was pretty cool. Or like a Jabberwocky, if anybody, that's millennial.
I remember that.
But that's the kind of stuff that I saw that's so cool, and I want to learn more about it. And of course, that's what we'll learn at the summit, whether it's RF or IPL and or LLT or is it
triple LT?
Triple LT, yeah. ABC, XYZ. We'll learn it all at the summit.
Yeah, they got red light, yellow light, blue light, and they treat different things. One treats Demodex, one's a sort of a, it's. I probably even can't even speak properly about it. I'm learning as I go, but it's really interesting to be able to kind of treat some of my long-term patients. We have something called dry eye boot camp at Couch and Eye Care, and I have patients that are on a perpetual dry eye boot camp, and they're happy, but they just don't want to leave me. They want to continue with regular treatments, and what's wrong with that? That's actually not a bad place to be. Just like we go to our dentist regularly every 6 months, why can't you go to your eye doctor on a regular interval to maintain a wellness, homeostatic environment on your ocular surface?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hey, one more thing, Harbir. I know I'm just chiming in. I did forget to mention we invited this crazy GQ speaker to join our summit this year. This guy is dressed to the nines, cut like a knife, beard and all, on point. Dr. Harbir Sian is going to be joining our faculty this year. So we're looking forward to hearing your take on ILUX as well and MGD. So welcome to the faculty, buddy.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Red. I appreciate that intro.
Would you be MMP9?
What's that? You know, that's Richard. I'm going to leave that one for Richard. I'll find it.
Yeah, you've got to be one of those Bond guys, right?
Yeah.
You should be a brown Bond, right? You'd be the brown Bond.
The brown Bond. Bond Singh. I'll take it. That's awesome. Well, thank you guys for inviting me to be part of the team and to be involved. I'm super excited. Really can't wait. I definitely got to make sure I got all my things in order, because I know I'm amongst like giants of the industry, so to speak, like the amazing big names around. So I got to up my game a little bit before I show up there. So thank you for having me, and I'm very excited, and I'm sure it's going to be an incredible event. Where can people connect with you guys individually? What platform would you like people to reach out to you?
For me, at dry.i.jedi on IG is probably a good way. You could always just go to our website at ilabs.ca as well. Easy to find me there.
Good.
Or just call me,
Yeah. That's true. Instagram at the Dry Eye Summit, you can interact with our team as well. You can find me on LinkedIn and on Instagram as well. So happy to chat with folks. The dryeyesummit.ca. We have a website that you can register for the summit. And I just wanted to throw out a thank you to you, Harbir, for really, helping everybody communicate with each other during the pandemic and beyond. So this 2020 series of podcasts, it's amazing and it's well done. And I wanted to thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
I echo that. Absolutely. Thank you. You've been sort of a compass in a storm here. So it's been great checking in through your 2020 podcast and your IG account too. So thanks.
Thank you. That's very kind. I appreciate that very much, guys. Thank you so much. And I appreciate everybody who joined us here on the call live today. And I appreciate all the comments, everybody engaging through the chat. It's been an amazing time. Please make sure you connect with me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, wherever, to enter for that full registration that we're giving away for the summit. And make sure you reach out to Dr. Maharaj and Dr. Miranda. They're amazing guys with insane amounts of knowledge. If anybody's looking for any kind of info in dry eye or any kind of practice management type of stuff, they know as much as there is to know, I'm going to say right now anyways. So thank you again, guys. Take care, and we'll see everybody real soon, hopefully at the summit.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Bye now.